Hey, Trump supporters, shut up already about you can't afford your groceries because it's kind of bullshit. We've all seen prices go up a bit, and in some cases, a lot. But you can't afford groceries? That's ridiculous. Talk about the biggest snowflakes ever. Oh, I can't feed my family. Yeah, you can. Shut up with the bull. I can't buy a house. Then don't wait. Can't fill up my car. Yeah, you can. You're fucking exaggerating. And then when Trump comes in office, supposedly all that's going to go down, except it's not. He's already telling you it's not. Are you guys going to shut up then? No, you know what's going to happen? You're going to change your tune. All of a sudden, it ain't so bad. Things are actually good, and it's worth it. Hard times and all. Meanwhile, you're over there shelling out hundreds of dollars for stupid, ugly golden shoes and goddamn trading cards with Trump's ass all over it. You guys are so full of shit. Shut up already.
This is how it went.
No, you can't stay there, and I'm sure you will find.
Very happy and excited that Trump won. As far as financially, obviously nothing's really changed. We're still under the Biden administration, but I know that it is coming, and
this is how it's going.
So I admit, I regret my vote for Donald Trump. I regret it because I needed these changes sooner. I needed the prices to go down sooner so that I didn't drain out my bank account.
Yeah, you regret your vote. And you know what? You're saying that you regret your vote. You're on video here crying your eyes out because you learned the hard way that Donald Trump does not mean lower prices for you. He again stated over and over and over again that he was going to do blanket tariffs. We told you he was going to raise prices. You guys said, no, we don't know what we're talking about. Experts who've studied this for 10 plus years.
So you ever notice how life has a funny way of humbling people? Now, the same folks who said we are taking our country back are now standing in grocery aisles, staring at $9 eggs and $10 milk, realizing maybe, just maybe, this greatness they voted for came with a hefty price tag. And America's kitchen tables are no longer about family dinners, they're about survival math. Now, this is the moment of reckoning, the moment when patriotic slogans meet the grocery receipt. Now, let's talk about it.
They literally cut my food stamp card off. Zero balance. They took everything. So I told my husband, and he says to me, as I'm crying, and he says to me, well, maybe I'll lose some weight now. God, why did I vote for him? I didn't know this was going to happen.
Why, oh why do poor white people vote against themselves time and time again? They vote for Trump and the other MAGA politicians only to have every promise broken, prices go up, social supports evaporate. Here's why. First, remember what I talked about recently, the psychological wage of whiteness. That term was coined by W.E. Du Bois to describe poor white folks being paid with social status rather than decent living conditions. They're convinced by the elites that they're better than black folks, better than immigrants, Latinos, LGBTQ folks. They're convinced that being white puts them in the same league as the elites. Of course, the elites know otherwise, but the poor whites buy it because they're grasping at straws. Second, they are convinced that the people they're supposedly better than are the big threat in their lives. Not the rich, not the corporations or the politicians, but immigrants, black folks, welfare queens, LGBTQ, criminals, you know, the usual scapegoats. Third, the elites promise protection to poor white folks. A politician comes along and says, I'll keep those people in their place, or I'll kick them out, or I'll lock them up. Or, more politely, I'll defend your values. They don't say, I'll make your life better. Well, they say it, they just don't mean it. They'll say, I'll make sure they don't get ahead of you. Fourth, they vote for the punishment, not the policy. When a law gets passed that slashes public housing or school funding or food aid, they think, good, that'll stop those lazy freeloaders. And they do some mental gymnastics that make them believe it's worth losing those things for their own families in order to see those problematic Black people and immigrants and so forth being punished. It gets to a point where just seeing those guys being punished is reward enough, which is pretty sick. But that's how behavior works. Their housing, schools, and groceries are on the chopping block too, but they blame that on Biden. Always a scapegoat.
Okay, I just got done with Walmart. If you saw my video just a little bit ago about how much I spent for just 29 items. I had to use my credit card because I couldn't afford it. I'm a single mom. Come on, people. Trump, everybody, lower the grocery bills. We gotta eat. We gotta feed our kids. Come on, really take this seriously. Trump, the administration, anybody listening, please lower the grocery bills. We can hardly afford this stuff anymore.
Hey y'all, it's me all in good fun, but I'm not going to be very good fun today. This is my first video in a series called FAFO. You effed around, now you're going to find out. And I want to talk about what you're going to find out during the months and years ahead of the Trump presidency. First thing you're going to find out is the President of the United States does not control grocery prices. That's determined by distributors who bring food to market. And they get the food from farms. And those farms, well, they employ undocumented immigrants and migrant farm workers, and they pay them pretty low wages. But those hardworking people are glad to have that money to send home to provide for their families. Well, once those people all get rounded up and deported, well, these farms are going to have to hire white people and pay them at least a minimum wage. This is going to cost the farms a lot more money, so they're going to have to raise the price of products. What's even worse, a lot of these people, they've had farms in their family for decades. Some of these farms, they're going to go out of business because they won't be able to compete with the large farms that are subsidized by the United States government. So not only are you not getting lower prices, but you're putting your neighbors out of business. Oops.
My head's about to fucking explode. If I have to listen to one more person fucking whine, one more fucking Trump voter bitching to me about the cost of food in Walmarts, I'm gonna fucking die. I just had to listen to these two fucking idiots wearing a MAGA hat. Both of them, Mr. and Mrs. Inbred, whining like bitches over the cost of food. You should have heard them. He couldn't believe it. And I couldn't resist saying, damn, this place is fucking outrageous now, right? It's crazy. And he said, this is what he said. He said, you know what? President's policies are kicking in soon. You'll get some relief, son. That's what he said to me. That's how deep these fucking people are in the cult. In the fucking grocery store, while at the same time broke as fuck.
The irony couldn't be thicker. The same millions who rallied behind the red hats and the fairy speeches, who believed they were draining the swamp and defending the working class, are now realizing they might have drained their own pockets instead. Now, you walk through any supermarket in America today and you can feel the frustration in the air. The frustration of mothers comparing store brands to save a dollar. And the frustration of retirees on fixed incomes wondering how chicken breast suddenly became a luxury. And beneath it all, a quiet and comfortable truth settling in. This isn't the America they thought they were voting for. Now, when Trump promised to put America first, it sounded patriotic, bold, and even righteous. But putting tariffs on imported goods, cutting taxes for the ultra-rich, and igniting trade wars didn't make middle America stronger. It made groceries more expensive and manufacturing more fragile and the dollar less forgiving. Now, you can't wave a flag over a frying pan that's empty. You can't shout MAGA when you can't afford gas to drive to work. And now many of those same voters are seeing that the problem wasn't just in Washington. It's right there in the local Walmart aisle, hiding behind those rollback stickers that barely mean anything anymore. Now people are waking up to the reality that politics isn't just about red or blue. It's about the cost of living, the stability of a paycheck, and whether or not your kids can eat healthy meals. And this awakening isn't happening in DC. It's happening at our kitchen tables across Iowa, Texas, and even Ohio, places that used to cheer the loudest for the man who swore he'd fix it all. But fixing it all takes more than slogans and rants, that is Twitter. It takes policy, compassion, and a genuine understanding of how everyday Americans live. And let's be honest, many of these same voters dismissed warnings. Economists shouted about tariffs leading to higher prices. Analysts predicted that deregulation would hurt small farmers and benefit corporate giants. But in the heat of the rallies, those voices were drowned out by the chants, the music, and the march. Now the silence is deafening because you can't chant your way out of an economic collapse. You can't own the libs and the checkout counter. Here's the uncomfortable part. This mess doesn't just affect Trump voters, it affects everyone, because when prices rise, they rise for everyone, that is. And when the government mismanages trade and fuels inflation, it doesn't ask for who you voted for or who you voted for. And that's the tragedy of it. Ideology blinded people to the shared humanity that politics should protect. We're all in the same grocery store now. We are all counting coins at the same gas pump. And maybe that's what it will take for America to finally see that division doesn't put food on the table. Unity and accountability does. So yes, it's a bitter pill. Some Trump voters are realizing they didn't just hurt the coastal elites or the woke left, they hurt themselves. They hurt the farmers, the truckers, the teachers, the nurses, all of whom are now paying the price for policies wrapped in patriotism but hollow in impact. And maybe that realization will lead to something deeper than regret. Maybe it will spark responsibility, because when the cost of eggs becomes a national crisis, you start to realize that leadership isn't about bravado, it's about results. And as America faces another election cycle, you can already sense a shift. The blind loyalty is fading, replaced by hard-earned awareness. And grocery prices, gas, bills, rent, they've become the new political ads. And no matter how many rallies or slogans are thrown around, reality will always have the last word. So maybe, just maybe, this moment of economic pain is the beginning of a national wake-up call. Because when your grocery cart becomes a protest sign, you start asking the right questions. And that's where real change truly begins.